Welcome to the Afterspin, opinions from thought leaders in our state. I want to ask Chris Fitzsimon and John Hood, after a spirited federal court verdict that North Carolina's congressional districts needed redrawing, it was decided there just wasn't enough time to do it before the November elections. But a three-judge panel has ordered our legislature to prepare an appeal to that verdict to issue to the U.S. Supreme Court by October 1st. So that they could hear the case in this new term. The court also said that if lawmakers don't proceed with all speed, the court might draw districts. What do you think of this order, Chris?
Well, I think that it raises the issue again before the Supreme Court. Does extreme partisan gerrymandering violate the Constitution? We had a federal Supreme Court case that they ruled that it did not, but there are people who would say that the ruling was narrow enough so it's not definitively decided. This three-judge panel's ruling, whether the legislature has the appeal in or not, I do think this will go to the Supreme Court again and they'll have another chance to take this up. I do think it's a legitimate question. Is there a line that is so partisan gerrymandered? And you know, I always go back to David Lewis's famous quote, the only reason we have 10 Republican districts is we couldn't figure out how to draw 11. Mm-hmm. Well, that doesn't seem to be in the best interest of the voters of North Carolina or political debate. But the question is, does it violate the Constitution? I think we're going to find out and I hope the Supreme Court will hear it this fall and make a ruling next spring.
But there's a possibility, John, that there's going to be a new justice on the bench in this new term.
That's correct, though the specific composition of the Supreme Court is as yet undecided as we speak.
Yes.
But assuming that President Trump gets his current or some future pick on the Supreme Court, I think that makes it unlikely that the Court of Appeals decision will be upheld. But Chris is right that the judge in question, Judge Wynn, was insistent that the state act quickly. And in addition to the redistricting debate, there is a pretty clear war of words and no love lost between Judge Wynn himself and key members of the legislature themselves. It goes back years. It is not new. It is.
It's a partisan.
It's not entirely partisan. Some of it is personal.
Oh. Would you care to elaborate on that? No, never mind. So the gist of this is, will the legislature file this appeal by October 1 or not? I mean, we're coming right on it.
I suspect, I don't see why they wouldn't go ahead and file. I mean, it's not going to get acted on.
Right. I think that's right. I mean, the goal is that this is going to the Supreme Court because that's the next place to go after this three-judge panel. I
mean, there's zero chance that the legislature will not be appealing.
Right.
They will be appealing.
Right.
Okay.
So the time, in fact, doesn't. I mean, it's not as important as it. I mean, it might make the court mad, but ultimately, the Supreme Court, a newly constituted Supreme Court, whether it's Judge Kavanaugh or somebody else, and when that person is appointed, is all up in the air.
Now, I hear some difference of opinion here. You seem to think that the appeal, that the verdict will be overturned. I think I'm hearing you saying.
He's saying it could be
I'm saying I don't
upheld,
know.
and
Yeah,
I don't know.
But
I think it's unlikely to be upheld, but it's not impossible.
Right.
Interesting.
And right. And I'm not sure, you know, Judge Kennedy would, if he were still on the court, whether that would change anything. Remember, that in many cases, Judge Kennedy, there were giant exceptions, but also voted for the most part with the conservative element of the court.
Yeah.
Right.
He was the
and
swing
even
vote.
in the decision, the original decision for the Supreme Court that sent it back down. If you read the decision carefully, Kennedy was not likely to go with the plaintiffs.
Gerrymandering is another one of these topics we've been talking about for 20 years on this show.
That one we are going to fix.
Maybe my grandchildren will be bringing them up on NC Spin in years to come. Anyway, thank you for watching the After Spin. We'll have more video all during the week on ncspin.com.